morning. My name is Catricia Lewis Barrett. I'm the Associate Athletic Director for Compliance at North Carolina A&T State University. The NLI stands for National Letter of Intent. It's a voluntary program that hails at most Division I and Division II schools. It's where students in their senior year, they sign an athletic aid agreement and also the National Letter of Intent. The big component of the National Letter of Intent is to allow students to sign that, and they're not able to be recruited by any other institution once they commit and sign the NLI at one institution. Well, the qualifications are quite simple. You have to be a senior, you have to be recruited, so only the institution can issue the National Letter of Intent. So if you're being recruited by that school and they want you, they will issue an athletic aid agreement and also the National Letter of Intent. Well, we've heard a lot of things about what a scholarship can be, but basically you're receiving funding because you have a special talent, either an academic talent, an athletic talent, any type of talent, you're receiving funding for that. So a lot of people think that a scholarship is free money. It may not necessarily be, but you're also receiving that funding for your particular talent. Sure, medical red shirt normally happens when a student is injured in the preseason or in the early part of their season. So in some sports, it's not the same in all sports. Let's say if they're injured in the first 30% of their season, then they'll get a medical hardship, meaning they can come back and regain that season back. We have to have a lot of documentation from the doctors to show that the student could have not performed for the remaining of that year, so they can gain that year back. Because the transfer rules vary from sport to sport. So the most general rule is that if you're going to go from a four-year institution, like North Carolina A&T, to another four-year institution, you'll have to sit out a year. So it just depends on what institution you're transferring into, a 2-year, a 4-year, or a 4 to 4 year. Well, that's also a big question because the ability to compete right away is in the hands of the coaches. So you can have a scholarship, you can be enrolled in a university, but it's still up to that coach if you're actually going to get out there and compete. And there's also a regular signing period. The most general signing period for all sports is actually coming up in April, so April to August.
What advice would you give a prospective student athlete before signing a National Letter of Intent?
Take their time to definitely review the documentation. The National Letter of Intent should come with an athletic aid agreement. You want to definitely review that aid agreement to ensure it has all the components that you talked about when you were on your recruiting visit. Definitely review it carefully. We know that the average student receives maybe 4 to 5 offers at one time. So you don't want to get too excited. You want to make sure you read through all of them, then obviously choose the best institution.
For further questions and inquiries, visit nationalletter.org.